All right, and we're back. It's time for another episode of the PulseWave Report with yours truly, the Algo Capitalist, aka the Vulcan, coming to you live from PulseWaveTrading.com, home of the world famous PulseWave price trigger reports. All right, so taking a look at our first chart, I want to go over a few things, point out some things to you here. This is the gold futures chart. So gold has actually broken lower now. All right, the bulls were not able to maintain this float of price, and we now have a break lower. The bears came in and finally took it down to another leg down. So now we're falling off the cliff and momentum to the downside accelerating. All right, so the market has chosen a direction, and right now the bears got it. What about silver? Not soybeans, but silver. Pulling up the right chart this time. All right, here's silver. So silver is still caught in the sideways pattern. All right. Right now, the bulls are trying to do a little something, trying to maintain the price flow. But if gold is going to be any directional indicator, it is possible that we are about to break lower to here as well. So this is one of those situations where you got to read the PulseWave reports on your dashboard this evening and follow the instructions to a T. All right, next up, I want to show you is the soybeans chart. All right, so yesterday we had that rally alert buy signal, right? We got a false move, all right, and then reverse and selling off into the close. Now we got a crash alert sell signal. So we got some flip-floppage. Market back and filled, tried to fill a little bit more of the gap, and now it's looking like the bears are going to come in and bash the thing down to the ground and put in a new leg lower and take out the current support as well. Markets are trying to pick a direction, folks. All we can do is run with it. And what about oil? Well, all right, so we had the crash alert sell signal coming into today. We did get that downside production before a rally into the close. Right now, the bears have it. Looks like any rally is going to be sold off right now in the crude oil. But here's what I want to show you. The stock index futures are moving in different directions, which is a weird thing. All right, it's not a normal thing to see that happen. So case in point, take a look at the NASDAQ right now. NASDAQ still putting in new highs every day. All right, this market crossed the 14,500, which was a key area, and now it's marching toward 14,700. No pullback, no end in sight. Anyone trying to short is just getting crushed because this NASDAQ just won't stop. It's a weird kind of a thing. New all-time highs in the NASDAQ 100. It's just weird, man. It's just weird. What else do you want me to say? But then when you look over here at the Dow, you see quite the opposite picture. The Dow already broke significantly off of its highs. We have lower highs going on, and we have lower lows. So you're trendless in the Dow with just this enormous trading range right now. Enormous. Top side 35,000. Bottom side is 32,902. That is quite the trading range. All right. A 3,000 point trading range is pretty radical, to say the least, right? That's a lot. That's just a lot. Key range is 3,000. Upper bands, lower bands is closer to 5,000. This is just weird. This is crazy. So we have the crash alert sell signal coming into today. No production. Narrow range inside day for the Dow, while the NASDAQ's hitting all-time highs. The Dow is not hitting all-time highs, far from hitting all-time highs. Something to consider, ladies and gentlemen. The market is trying to tell us something. This is kind of like 2007, 2008, all over again, but in reverse. Back then, you had the Dow and the S&P hitting all-time highs. Excuse me. And I think the Russell was too, but the NASDAQ was not. The NASDAQ was not, nowhere near it. And then a year later in '08, that's when the markets fell. So we have in the reverse this time. Well, here is your Australian dollar. Quite the pullback, quite the sell-off, but it just stopped short of getting into a bearish zone, and we maintain the bulls with a semblance of power here, keeping the market from putting in a new leg lower. But with all of the overhead selling pressure, it may only just be a matter of time. Looks like the rally may be out, and the bears may be ready to take the market lower in your Australian dollar. I know it's weird. The markets are just acting like they're broken. Here's your Canadian dollar. All right, so you got that rally today, but remember, the bears are still under control with this one. So they may be getting ready to sell this rally back down in your Canadian dollar as well. Even though you're now in a bullish zone, but the bears are keeping the market at bay. Had a rally today, but not enough to change and flip it over to the bull side, at least not yet. Very interesting things happening in these markets, I know. Now, another thing I wanted to show you is here's what Bitcoin is doing. You still have that flip-floppage going on. All right. So we had the rally alert buy signal from the flip-flop. We got the upside production today. Nice little rally. And then the market just stopped short of doing anything else. Overhead trend line resistance is at the 40,000 mark. Can we get enough momentum to get there? Right now, it's not looking like there's a whole lot. It's kind of like drifting higher, like a balloon. Not a hot air balloon, just a regular balloon you blow up with helium and then let it go. It doesn't have a whole bunch of lift to it. It's a slow kind of grind. A lot of overhead resistance. So we could still break lower here. We are in a bearish zone, have been for quite some time. It's a bearish sideways trading market. So it's a bearish consolidation. So you're expecting sideways to possibly lower prices. If you do get a break of a new leg lower, it may not be that significant. It may just take out the supports by a fraction before recovering. And we call that expanding the range. So just a few things to look at here, but it's just not a lot going on. It's not a lot going on. What about that US dollar? Well, the US dollar surprised today after getting the several days in a row of this moving sideways. The market breaks higher today and gets into the 92 handle. So the US dollar is strengthening, which should put pressure on commodity prices and on other currency pairs as well. So just very interesting developments in the markets as a whole. And that's what I wanted to bring to y'all's attention, that it's just one of those things, man. It's weird market dynamics because there's so much market manipulation by way of liquidity injections from the central banks and the Federal Reserve, and there's just a lot going on. They're talking about inflation and food and energy, which we already know about. Just a lot of stuff, man. Just a lot of stuff. So I wanted to bring that to your awareness so that you would understand what was going on here. All right, let me look at one other thing before I let y'all go. Let's see here. All right. Give me just a second. I see you want to see the ADA Cardano. Let me see if I got that updated for you. All right, and it appears I do. All right, so it stopped short at the overhead trend line resistance. This is ADA Cardano. All right, so you had a rally alert buy signal coming into today. You got the upside production and all, but then the market stopped short right at the overhead trend line resistance. All right, so that is something to be aware of as well. Be aware of these dynamics. The markets are really following whatever the market dynamics are for each individual market. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. When there's a lot of selling pressure, rallies are kept at bay. Likewise, when there's a lot of bottom feeders, sell-offs will be kept at bay. All right, so here's Peninsula on the ASX. You had the crash alert sell signal from a few days ago, and you've been getting continued downside production before a back and fill in the close today, right at the trend line. So this is an interesting one too. You didn't put in a new low, and you could have easily done so, but you didn't do it. So even though you're in a bearish zone, the market technically isn't in a corrective state anymore. It actually has a base to rally, even though it stopped short of the overhead trend line resistance. So this is another interesting one too, with the bottom of the Kumo cloud right there next to that trend line resistance zone. So got a lot of pressure on the markets in general, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. I think there's going to be confusion as people try to absorb and make sense out of a lot of the economic data. All right, last but not least, this is your BBX Minerals on the ASX. This one's been consolidating for quite some time below the trend line resistance. So you have a rally alert for tomorrow's trading. You're right here at the overhead trend line resistance. You stop short right there. Will it get enough power to punch through it? If it does, then the bottom of the Kumo cloud here at that 34 cent is going to be the initial target where you will find your second layer of resistance. All right, so with that being said, man, that's it. I just wanted to show you guys that there's really nothing going on here in the markets, but if something jumps off, you'll be ready for it, because that's what the pulse waves are for. They're there as a tool to help guide you, to give you some kind of idea where markets may be ready to make a move, especially on the intraday. Those are key, because a lot of times, there is no news. It's just that, bears or bulls get a little bit nervous and want to do something, and so they kind of test the waters and see if they can make something happen. And then you got these self-fulfilling prophecies of intraday rallies, and then they fizzle out, or intraday sell-offs, and then they fizzle out. Kind of like what happened in the oil play today. Early in the morning, the market broke for like $2, $2-3, and then rallied right back to where it was, like nothing happened. So that was like a mini flash crash or a mini sell-off before correcting. So yeah, you got these stop runs. Things like that will happen in quiet markets. So just something to think about moving forward. And with that being said, remember, smash that like button and go to PulseWaveTrading.com so that you can sign up to receive these valuable, priceless reports. All right, so you know how to handle your investments, how to handle and approach these markets. And with that being said, remember, bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered. So remember to take what you can and give nothing back. And I am out. Peace.